Hi, welcome everyone to Automate Your Accounts Payable. I'm Jennifer Fennell, Product Marketing Manager here at Accounting Seed, and your host for today's session. Before we get started, I'd like to do a little bit of housekeeping. We always love to hear your questions, thoughts, and ideas. Please use the question mark feature to send any questions, and we will do our best to address them at the end. In addition, this webinar is being recorded and a copy will be sent to you after the fact. Now, I'd like to introduce our team. On with me today is Aparna Shanbhag. She is the Director of Product Operations with over 15 years of experience in the software industry. She'll be handling the questions and answers later today. And our presenter is Mary Balmer, Director of Product Management, CPA, Salesforce certified, and 30+ years of experience developing tax and accounting software. Mary, wow.
You are making me sound really old.
Sorry, you're not at all, but that experience is amazing. With that, Mary, we are really excited to talk about AP automation, and I'm gonna let you take it away.
All right, thank you, Jen, and welcome everyone. I wanna thank you first for taking time out of your day to be here with us today, talking about and demonstrating our new AP automation offering. So we're gonna take a look at the agenda now. We're gonna talk about headaches. What are you experiencing in the whole AP process? And then we're gonna talk about solutions, what we have done to help you in that process. And then my favorite part, we're gonna jump into a demo and I'm gonna show you the features that we have created for automating your accounts payable processes. We will get into further details about this offering and then we'll open it up at the end for Q&A. So let's go ahead and begin here. What kinds of headaches are you experiencing today? You may be spending way too much time just trying to get the bills into the system, right? And then once you get them into the system, you don't really have a way to easily find, search for, and pay those bills that need to be paid. And because you're spending so much time trying to manage those bills, you're not benefiting from early pay discounts because you may be missing them. Today, you may be going into your bank, right, and entering all the bills to pay and then going into your accounting system and entering the payment records there. And you just want a way to be able to pay your vendors from within one system. You want maybe flexible payments. Maybe you have specific vendors that say, I want to be paid, this way. And so you want some flexible payment options. If you have a credit note, you may not have a way to easily use that as a form of payment to reduce the amount that you owe to a vendor. And then, maybe you're worried about fraud. You're printing checks in your office, and I'm pointing over here. I have a printer in my office, but I don't have any check stack. But that is, you have a risk of fraud when you are printing checks out of your office. You've got to maintain that check stock. And plus, you're spending a lot of time printing out those checks, stuffing them into envelopes, taking them to be mailed out. Okay, so we have solved for these headaches with a new solution. We're calling it AP automation. It is a new and embedded and fully automated accounts payable process. So from the time that a vendor sends you bills to the time it's picked up on a bank reconciliation and reconciled, we have automated that entire process with these three features: email to payable, payment proposals, and automated payment distribution. So I'm going to go into and talk about each one of these features. Email to payable, this is about getting the payables into the system more easily. So what we've done is we have created a system where you can just tell your vendors, send your bills to a specific email account that you've set up for this purpose. And when a bill is sent there, it will be automatically picked up. A payable will be created. We will do our best to vendor match based on who is sending that bill to you. And then we will display an image of the bill on screen to allow you to more easily complete whatever fields need to be completed on the payable, save it and post it. The next feature is all about paying bills. So we've introduced this new feature called payment proposals that allow you to more easily search for and find bills to pay. You can be performing simple searches. I need to pay vendor X. You may need to do more advanced searches. I need to pay all my utility bills, and I need to pay all of my software licensing, any of the bills associated with that. You may have some complex filtering you need to do to find those bills to pay, and payment proposals are going to help you do that. If you have credit memos outstanding, you can, on the payment proposal, aggregate by vendor, which will allow you to then just throw a credit memo into that payment batch to reduce the amount that you're going to pay the vendor, and we'll take care of the rest. If you have early pay discounts, so we're going to look at your scheduled date, and you can pay your bills on the same day that you create the payment proposal or schedule them in the future. Whatever you decide to do, we'll look at that payment date and we will automatically calculate early pay discounts based on that payment date. What's really nice about this, we have heard from some customers that they have a payables process for payment where they will want to create a batch of proposed payments and then send them to the CFO for approval. The CFO is closely monitoring money going out. Okay, and they've wanted an easier way to do this. Well, using payment proposals, you can create a batch of payments, configure an approval process to send that automatically to the CFO for approval. Once payment proposals are approved, you will pay by either clicking on a pay button on the payment proposal, or we have an automated job that you can schedule that runs and will automatically pay all payment proposals that are in an approved status. When the payment proposal is paid, what happens behind the scenes is we create cash disbursement records and we apply them to payables. If you have thrown in any credit memos into the payment proposal, we will automatically apply the credit memos to the payables. The next step here is then to post the cash disbursement, and as long as you've selected payment services as your form of payment, we will then automatically distribute the payment. And you have flexible options here. You can pay your vendors by virtual card, by ACH, or by check. Now, if paid by virtual card, this is no different than if you had a plastic credit card, a Visa, MasterCard that you're going to use to pay the vendor. What do? You have a conversation, you give them your number, maybe you have your card on file, and they process that payment. Virtual card is no different, except that it is much more secure because it is a one-time use virtual card number. It is to be used to pay specific bills, and it is used to pay a specific vendor. So you're not, now no one, I can't go and hack into your account and, pick up that virtual card and pay it because I'm not your vendor. Okay, so it's a very secure method of payment. And I wanted to actually show you what your vendors are going to see here. So I'm going to get out of here. And I'm going to look at this email. Once you pay by virtual card, your vendor will receive an email. And it will have this credit card information in here. And this looks just like Visa, MasterCard number. You'll have the credit card number, the CVV expiration date. Your vendor will then use that information to process it, just like your vendor would process any other credit card payment. Okay, so let's go back into the slide deck here. And now ACH, everybody knows ACH, right? I mean, you guys have very familiar. It's been around for a while. It's just a form of electronic payment. Money is moved from your account to your vendor's account. And check, now the difference here is that you're not having to maintain check stock in your office. So if you have, and there are, I'm sure, some vendors that still insist that they be paid by check, you can send off a check automatically through this automated payment distribution. And when your vendor receives it, it's going to be just like this. It's a check. right? 2 windows, you open it up here, and this is just a copy of the check, so it's not gonna be as pretty, but you open it up here and you'll have your check on top, and then you'll have your remittance information so that they'll know what they are being paid for, okay? So what are the benefits that you get out of this AP automation offering? You're going to be saving money, okay? When you pay your vendors using virtual cards, there are no per transaction fees. If you need to pay a vendor by check or ACH, there are competitive transaction rates, and we'll get into that in a moment. Additionally, if you pay your vendors by virtual card, you're going to have an opportunity to earn rebates. So you can consider that as either lowering your cost or opening up another revenue stream. However you want to view that, you'll have an opportunity to earn rebates. Anytime we automate processes, you're going to save time and you're going to reduce your risk of error. Okay? You're also going to be strengthening internal controls, certainly around checks, to prevent check fraud, and there are checks in place to prevent duplicate payments as well. You'll reduce your risk of penalties, hopefully, for late payments, because you're going to be able to better manage your bills. And then finally, you'll increase potential savings from your early paid discounts because you'll be able to better manage your bills. So in summary, how it works is we've got email to payable that helps you get the payable into the system. You're going to create a payment proposal when you're ready to search for bills to pay and to get them paid. If you have a budget for how much you can pay at that particular time, this will help you stay within budget. Upon approval and payment of that payment proposal, cash disbursement records will be automatically created. They will be applied to payables. If you have any credit memos in there, those will automatically be applied. When your bank transactions are automatically downloaded from the bank, they will be automatically matched to the payment records. And then when you're doing a bank reconciliation, those payment records will be automatically cleared. So my favorite part here, let's get into a demo of all of this. All right, so we are going to start with email to payable, okay? I have an email ready to go, and I have sent it to this email address. So as we talked about before, you'll probably want to create an email address that all your vendors can send their bills to. Maybe you'll call it something like accountspayable@businessname.com. So for us, Accounting Seed, we might have something set up like accountspayable@accountingseed.com, right? All your vendors will send their bills to that email account. You will configure your email account to reroute to this email service that we have helped you configure on the back end. Okay, so once this is sent, it will automatically create payable, and we're going to see that happen. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on send, and I'm going to go into payables now. Well, I'm in payables right now. I see the last payable I have is 92, so I'm going to refresh, and we should see this appear here. Here it is, Larkspur Security. We're going to go into that payable. Now, a couple things to point out here. We have a new posting status of draft. The reason we do this is we may not have all the information that's required, so we will put it into draft status until all the required information is complete. Okay. We have vendor matched to Larkspur Security. How did we do that? Well, excuse me, we do a match based on the sender's email address. We will go through, look at all the contact records until we find that email address. And once we find it, we'll set the vendor to that related account. Okay, so let's go down here and look at our new attachment carousel. So we've got these arrows here where we can go forward and back if there are multiple attachments. We only have one here, so we're going to scroll down till we can see the line item information. You're going to see how easy it's going to be for me now to complete this. So I'll just enter the quantity. The cost is $87.50, and the GL account security, and we're good to go. I'm going to go ahead and save this. Now, one important thing, you're going to want the vendor to understand what you're paying for. So you want to enter their invoice number. This is what you do today in the payee reference field. So we're going to go ahead and enter that. Okay, and we'll save. Now we have all the required information for payables. So when I scroll up, we're going to see that now the posting status has changed from draft to in process. Okay, when you're ready, when you have all the other information, you can go ahead and if you need to route it for approval, you can route it for approval. I am just going to go ahead and change this to approved here, and we can go ahead and post this payable. So this will allow you to get those payables into your system much more quickly and easily. Okay, so next step, the next feature is payment proposal. Now I have all my bills in my system and I need to start paying bills. So I'm going to go to payment proposal here and I'm going to create a new payment proposal. I'm going to get started here. Type, this is where we can hook in and tie to that automated payment distribution feature. Okay, we're going to select payment services and we can put in a payment date of today. I'll just go ahead and select that, but we can certainly schedule this for some time in the future. I'll select my ledger and I will select my bank account. If I want to aggregate by payee, in other words, I have 5 payables outstanding for a particular vendor and I want to send them one payment for all 5. I can check this box to aggregate by payee. This is also going to allow me to, if I have credit memos, be able to throw in the credit memo in there as well. So I'm going to click save, really easy, just a few pieces of information. And I have my payment proposal. Next step is to search for and find bills to pay. So I'm going to click on the search tab and I can do a basic search, and really I think it's a lot more than basic, but it's a basic search here just right on this page, or I can go to the toggle and do an advanced search. So let's first look at this basic search. You will have the ability to search on all the criteria you specify below that it has to meet before it will return the results, or it can return any of the results for the criteria you set below. That is very similar for technical people. It's the logical and or operator. Okay, so we'll just leave it at all. So what that means is if I put in multiple criteria below here, it just has to meet all of that before it will return results. Okay, so this is nice. I can do my basic search on account. Let's say I do want to search for Larkspur Security. I've got my account there, and instead of relative due date, I'm just going to set that to none. I just want to return all of my Larkspur Security invoices. So I'll click on search and I'll see, well, I only have one. Okay, well, that's good. Let me do a different search. I haven't added it yet because I haven't selected it and added it to my payment proposal, but I changed my mind. I want to search for all bills that have a due date of last month. How would I do that? Well, I'll clear out the account, okay, and I'll go down to relative due date, and you can see there are lots of different selections here. I'm going to go to last month, and I'm going to click on search. Okay, go down here. Okay, that's fine. I see some bills that were due in January. Cool. Hey, you know what? I think I have some bills in December as well. Let me go search over the last 2 months. Let's see what that looks like. I'm going to select last N months. And in this column, I'm going to put 2. That tells me this is very similar to the Salesforce Report Builder, if you're familiar with that. So I'm searching for last 2 months. Let's click on search. And there we go. Now I've got my bills that were due in December and January. So you can see, I mean, there are lots of ways in which you can search for bills. Not only the equals, something has to equal something, but look at all these different operators we have here. It could be equal, maybe not equal to, contains, does not contain, starts with. So lots of options, and this is why I call this the more than just a basic search as you're searching for bills. Now let's look at our advanced search. What could that be? What more could you need than that? Well, let's go to advanced search here. And what we're going to do here is to select a report to pull in the filters from a report. Now, this is something new and different here. there is a payment proposal search report that we are including out of the box with AP automation. I'm going to go ahead and select that. And what that's going to do is return the filters that are on this report. Okay, so let's go see what that looks like here. Here's my report folders. You're going to see a new report folder called Payment Proposal Search Reports. So I'll go in there, and here's my payment proposal search. Now, the really cool thing is that if you have different kinds of searches and they're all complicated searches and you need to search based on custom fields, whatever it is, and you have different groups of vendors that you may be paying at different times, so you want to do different kinds of searches, just create the reports. If you can create a report, you can search on it, right? So create as many different payment proposal searches as you need, and then on the payment proposal, just select that search. So let's go into this report to see what we're pulling, right? So I'll click on edit in the report. All I really need to do is set up the filters on the report. And if you're familiar with Salesforce Report Builder, you will know how to do this. Set up your search filters on the report, and then you can use them to search for bills to pay on the payment proposal. So I'm really excited about this. This is really a cool way of giving you more advanced search capabilities. So if we go back here to the payment proposal, you can see our filters that we have on that report. Payment status equals unpaid, balance not equal to 0, and then this third one, vendor not equal to blank. Okay, so we can change up these filters if we want. Not equal to, let's say, Larkspur security. Okay, we want to find everything else but Larkspur security. So we'll do a search on this and we'll see, and we're coming down here. It's like, nope, no Larkspur security. So that worked. So while you can't add filters here, you have to go add the filters on the report. You can certainly change the values of what you're searching for. So really cool search capability. Let's go ahead and take this out because I actually want to add Larkspur into the payment proposal. So let's make sure that we have Larkspur down here. We do. I'll add that. And maybe Express Logistics. We've got a $100 payment there. Let's see, maybe Edge Communication. We have a credit memo here. So I'll select these here. And we'll go ahead and add them to the payment proposal. We'll go back to the details page right away. You can see if you're within budget. So we have, here's the payables total. Here's a credit memo that I threw in there. Here's the net that we are proposing to pay. So that helps me know if I've stayed within budget. As I go down here, because I've chosen to aggregate by payee by checking this checkbox, I can see how much I'm proposing to pay each vendor, which is really useful, okay? And then I can expand and I can see, okay, this is just one payable I'm paying here. I can expand Edge and I can see, oh yeah, I've got 2 invoices and I also have a credit memo that I'm throwing in there. And then I've got Larkspur and I've got one there, okay? So now I'm ready to pay. Everything looks good. If you have an approval process, if your CFO wants to manage the money going out, you'll configure an approval process on the payment proposal. Right now in this demo org, I do not have one configured, so I'm just going to go in and mark it as approved. Okay. Once it's approved, you can configure a job that will automatically pick this up and pay it. For all payment proposals that have an approved status, it will pick it up and pay it. Or if you're in here, it's approved, just for convenience sake, you can go ahead and click on pay. Okay. Once this comes up, we'll go ahead and click on pay. Here we go. Click on pay here, and this will be done in the background. What is going to be done? What is going to be done in the background? Cash disbursements are going to be created. They're going to be applied to payables. If you have any credit notes, those will be automatically applied to the payables in order of issue date. So it'll go to the earliest payable first, apply the credit memo. If it hasn't been used up completely, it will go to the next earliest payable, apply, and it'll keep applying it until that credit memo is used up. Okay, so let's now go to cash disbursements, and we will see our 2 cash disbursements that were created. Okay, so let's just go into this Larkspur Security cash disbursement. We can see that it was created and it's in an approved status. Okay, so what that means is we want to give you that final last chance to kind of take a look before you post it, because once you post it and the type is payment services, it is going to be sent off automatically for payment based on the vendor's preference. Okay, and let's talk about that for a moment, the vendor's preference. Well, here's my accounts list view here, and I'm showing you some of the information that's useful when we configure vendors to be paid using our new automated payment distribution. So we've got the vendors here, we have billing contacts. This is important to configure the billing contact if you're going to pay a vendor by virtual card, because we need an email. You saw earlier, I showed with you an email that was sent to the vendor where they could redeem that virtual card. So we need to have the vendor account created. We need to have a billing contact there with a valid email so that the vendors can be paid. Okay. If you have to pay by check, then the vendors need their address information. If you're going to pay by ACH, then here's one set up for ACH. Let's go to this vendor quickly. We'll go to cash out, and we will look at the payment methods, and we'll see we need that routing number and account number. That makes sense, right? If you're going to pay by ACH. So if we go back to this accounts list view, you can see we've got all the information. We have different payment methods for different vendors. Different vendors may have different preferences. Maybe as a business, you want to pay as many people as you can using virtual cards. So you can certainly do that, talk to your vendors, get them on virtual cards. If there are other payments that you need to make, such as ACH or check, you can set up those vendors accordingly. Payment services, once you enroll them, it's just a checkbox. Once you have all the information on the vendor account, check the box, and you've got this payment service status. So you'll be able to see when you can start paying them based on their preferred payment method. So if we go back to cash disbursements now, we're getting ready. This is in an approved status, so we can't really pay it until it's posted. So let's go ahead and post. Okay. Alrighty, so once we post this now, information will be sent off to Edenred as long as this vendor is enrolled. Now, one thing I didn't check is if I had enrolled them, and I have. So payment services type is virtual card, so we'll have to wait for information to come back. I'm in a sandbox, so it's going to take a few minutes. So instead of making you wait until that information comes back, I'm going to go to my cash disbursements, and I'm going to show you one that completed. Here's one for Amazon. Let's take a look at this. So in the payment services section, we've got the payment services type was virtual card. Now we have a payment method that will populate here, and this is useful information. We can go into this payment method and we can say, see, okay, here's how much the payment was for, and then this available balance is if the vendor hasn't yet redeemed that payment, we'll see that. But since it's 0, this tells me that the vendor has redeemed that. So that is very useful information from a business perspective. We will also, if the cash disbursement was created from a payment proposal, we will populate those fields here. And then you'll monitor this payment service status just to make sure it does eventually become reconcile complete, which means that the payment has been made successfully. Okay, so this is the demo. Let's get back into the slide deck now. And I'm going to go from current slide here. And we will go to the next slide and we'll talk about the details. Okay, so AP automation, there is an annual license fee of $3,000, but there's a limited time offer. So for the first 50 customers to sign up by June 30, they will get 50% off the term of their contract. Okay. There is, as we mentioned before, an opportunity to earn rebates. Okay, so For those vendors that you pay via virtual card, you will have an opportunity to earn a rebate. There are no per transaction fees when you pay your vendors with a virtual card. If you pay your vendor using ACH, it's a 50 cents per transaction fee. And if you pay by check, it's $1.60. These are very competitive rates. If you look at other payment service providers, you'll see that that is very competitive. So I see my friends are back. We're going to open this up for Q&A. Aparna, what is it looking like?
Lots of interesting questions, Mary, as always. I'll look at a few that we answered, and we look at the answers and see if there's anything else that you wanted to add to them.
Okay.
There was lots of questions about virtual cards. The first one is, can virtual cards be used for international payments? And this is as long as it accepts US currency, right?
Yeah, so as long as a vendor is able to accept a US denominated payment, they can process that payment. There may be additional FX related fees associated with it, but as long as they can process a US denominated payment, the answer is yes.
Awesome, thank you. Another payment method related question is for ACH. Does the system automatically send remittances to vendors when they pay?
Yes, and I think I mentioned that. If I haven't, on the Payable, there's a payee reference field. And just like you do today, where you put in, hopefully all of you are doing this, you're putting in the vendor invoice number into the field. That is the field that is picked up on the vendor remittance. So yes, any time a payment is made, regardless of method, that remittance information will be sent to the vendor.
Awesome, yeah. And I think this is why we are asking that if the billing contact on the vendor has an email address, then Edenred automatically sends this out to them. Right?
Yes, yes.
For check, is this process of sending checks similar to that of a bank's online bill pay? If so, how is the banking information obtained? So some part of this is during the onboarding process, right, Mary?
You got it. You got it. So during the onboarding process, we will set this up and you'll enroll, you'll create an account, right? And then during that process, you will work with them to set up the bank account to where the money is being moved from, okay? So if that's what you're asking, that's how it's set up at the beginning. And then the vendor, as you saw, we have payment method that is related to the vendor account with the vendor's routing number and bank account number. So we have it from both sides. We have the business's bank account and we have the vendor bank account. So we'll be sending that payment request off. And when I say we have it, Edenred has it as well.
I'm just looking. There were quite a few questions about purchase orders. So I was saying that we don't yet have a way to automatically match purchase orders.
Yeah, not yet, but that is coming. I understand that's a part of the payable process and the automation behind it. So that is something on our roadmap, definitely.
Is there a monthly fee for AP automation? Is that something that you covered, Mary, or is that?
There's the annual license fee, and then there's the per transaction fee. So that is it between those two. Yeah.
The meetings, right? Okay. Just looking through. I can scroll up a little bit.
Certainly seemed like there was a lot of excitement, Aparna. I was seeing those questions come in.
There's lots of questions, and if we can't, get to them now, and we'll certainly respond after. Does the payment proposal show you the total dollar amount? I know you went over this, Mary, but maybe if you could just show the proposal again.
Yeah, maybe I should just have this up in case we need to point to anything. So the payment proposal, that was an important feature of payment proposal, because when you look at think about the user scenario, I need a way to easily find and search for and pay bills, and I need to make sure that I stay within budget, right? So this is the running total. You've got your payables total, you got your credit memos. Here's the net of the two, and that's what you keep your eye on. Now, I had configured this in another demo org. I actually put it in a highlights panel up here, so it'd be up at the top, and you can do that as well. But yeah, that's the number that you want to keep your eye on, and as you add new payables to it, it will continue to update so that you can see if you're staying within budget.
With virtual card payments, is Amex accepted as a virtual card? I believe it's MasterCard and Visa that it supports, right, at the moment?
It is. Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Cool. What happens if a vendor sends a general question to the inbox and not an invoice? Is this something that would they send it to that same email address?
Yeah, you would want to talk to them about not doing that. Because what we do is we try to, create a payable and try to do a vendor match on it. And so you'll want to set up a separate email for communications, right? This is specifically for a specific purpose, which is to create bills for anything that's sent to that email, right? And you could do some rules, email rules, to make sure that, certain payables or certain emails are rerouted. But at the end of the day, to avoid getting a payable created inadvertently, you'll want to make sure that you have a separate email account set up. Yeah.
That makes sense, yes.
Yeah.
Then we have, can it be, so this is about email to payable again, can it be changed to match based on the vendor's name versus the email? We have some vendors that have their invoices sent by different employees every time. What email field does the AP automation feature look at? So
that is interesting. So yeah, we look at the email address on the billing contact, but I would suggest posting that in our feature request form. We could certainly change the logic, or maybe give you options for what you want to, how you want to match the vendor. I would love to hear this. So if anyone needs to match it based on a different set of criteria, go ahead and post something in the feature request form. And maybe I should show you where that is in case you don't know. So we'll go to our knowledge base here. And if you go to community, and then you just click on feature requests, that is where you can new post, right? Just submit your feature requests there. Great suggestion. And I would love to hear how you would want to do that vendor match.
Absolutely. Then there are questions about cash disbursements. Do we need to approve and post each cash disbursement?
Yeah, so we have a post job, right? So the cash disbursements, if you have a payment proposal that's approved, cash disbursements are created from the payment proposal. It's going to be in an approved status. If you have scheduled a job to run to automatically post a cash disbursement, you don't need to do anything else. So think about it. If you currently have approval processes on cash disbursements, well, that could be a pain to have to approve each and every one. If you have 100 bills to pay, why not use payment proposals? Have your CFO approve it one time. They may have 100 bills to pay, but it's just in that one. And then you take the approval process off the individual cash disbursement. And then that way you can just let your, they're going to be in approved status anyway if it's created from payment proposal. Let your scheduled job automatically post it. And then once it does that, your payment will be distributed automatically.
There's one question that I saw about email to payable. I'm just trying to scan. It was about whether the attachment is saved on the payable. And it is, it's in that files and...
Yep, so let's go there again. We're going to go into our Larkspur security. So anything that is attached, it stays there. If I had multiple attachments, I would see that. And it isn't any different than if you look at your notes and files, you'll see it. there's your attachment. And actually, you know what I did? This is really cool. It's a component. It's a custom component that we added to the page. Well, I added this. This isn't going to be in your orgs, but I was just testing it out, and I added the custom component on this tab as well. And as you can see, I'm seeing my image here as well. So it's, you know, if you know how to edit a page and add a custom lightning component to the page, you'll know what I mean, right? And you can add that anywhere you have notes and files, and you'll be able to see an image. So that's just a, you know, nugget that you can take away as something, as a way to use that a little bit differently. But as we build out these components, we do that with the, you know, intent that, you know, we want you to use it in other places. If you have custom objects that you're creating, you know, go ahead and drop this custom component in there. Just like our advanced line manager, if you have a header and you have line items, you can just drop that advanced line manager into your custom object and you can use that. So I think I more than answered that question.
Go ahead, please. That's really cool, Mary. I was wondering how you had that show up here.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just a component like anything else. You could just drop on a page. Yeah.
All right, maybe one more question.
Okay.
This was, can we still manually apply credit memos? And yes, we still have apply screen. You can still go in there and find the billing to which, or in this case, the payable to which to apply the credit.
And you can, and I do understand that there are some use cases where you're going to want to apply specific credit memos to specific payables. We thought a lot about this as we designed this feature. And there are many cases where it's like, I don't care, I just need to throw it into the batch and you guys do the rest. But there may be other cases where this credit memo is very specific to this and I want to apply this one to this. So yes, you can do that first and then add your payable to the, whatever's left on that payable to the payment proposal. Right.
Wow. Oh, Aparna, Mary, great stuff. I mean, seeing the questions come in, there's so much excitement around this new offering. And hopefully customers have already activated AR automation, because when you pair AR automation with AP automation, it is going to be a beautiful day in the accounting and finance departments. But if you haven't activated AR automation yet, or if you're ready for AP automation, all you have to do is send an email to licensing@accountingseed.com. And I'd like to encourage you to do that sooner than later to be able to take advantage of the 50% off term of contract and assistance from one of our product consultants to help you onboard. So send an email and we will get back in touch with you about AP automation. And if you haven't activated AR automation, we can help you with that as well. I'd also like to take a minute to remind you that for easy access to all help assets, including making recommendations and suggestions, go to accountingseed.com/support. You can quickly get to the knowledge base, documentation, and FAQs. And with that, on behalf of Mary and Aparna and everyone here at Accounting Seed, I'd simply like to say thank you. Thanks for spending the day with us. Thank you for being a loyal customer. We appreciate you so much, and we'll be talking to you soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.